Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine Thompson, and here are your top 10 writing tips for you ought to know. Tip 1. Make sure your main idea is first. Ensure that your main idea doesn't get lost in your writing. In my website, I explained that this trip is inspired him to create shoe business with a BOGO buy one give one business model. Essentially letting my readers know that this isn't about Tom's as a whole or about a social business by itself, but saying how Tom's is a social business by explaining that BOGO doesn't mean buy one, get one free. It means buy one and you give another pair of shoes to another person who needs it. Step 2. Ensure that you have a solid foundation and your website is organized. You want to make your website easy to navigate and organize your information so readers can reference back to specific points as they need to. Ensure that by adding headers and subheaders. Step 3. Use short paragraphs. The strategy is to keep the audience's attention. Large paragraphs intimidate some readers or causes boredom or confusion midway through. In my website, one of my paragraphs is, Tom's is a for-profit business based in sunny California. Blake initially started off just by selling footwear modeled by Spanish espadrilles, and he sold that while he was in Argentina. Now, it is expanded to eyewear, coffee, and apparel. Step 4. Ensure you have a clear heading and subheading. This is necessary for readers to reference back and keep your web page well structured. One of my headings is, what is a social business? And one of my subheadings is, a social business should be able to. Step 5. Proofread your work. This is very important because most people like to write without looking over what they wrote, or sometimes they just read it the way they had planned it inside their head instead of actually reading what they wrote down. So independently proofread your writing and ensure there is no mistakes. Here are 2 examples. The wrong way to do it is, they have also raised awareness for many global issues such as poverty, poor healthcare, and hunger. The correct way is, they have also raised awareness for many global issues such as poverty, poor healthcare, and hunger. You see how that reads better? Tip 6. Utilize your visuals. Media should be reflective of your text and reinforce the ideas that you've addressed. One example is, according to the great Muhammad Yunus, a social business is a non-dividend company that is created to address and solve social problems. And I added a picture of Muhammad Yunus, so you know who I'm talking about. Tip 7. Cite your sources. Always list your sources from content that is not your own. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. One example is, Tom's has successfully been able to provide shoes for children in over 70 countries and has provided over 86 million pairs of shoes. Tom's 2018. Here I went a little step further and added an in-text citation as well as cited my sources at the bottom of my website to ensure that there is no room for plagiarism within my webpage. Tip 8. Remember your audience. Don't forget who your audience is. Ensure that your content is understandable to your audience. Tom's originally objective was simple: provide shoes to those in need. I explain this because although you may understand what Tom's is and what their business model is, somebody else who's never heard of the shoe company may not know what they are and just think it's just a normal guy's name. Tip 9. Use bullet points and numbering. Use these to break up ideas and make it easier for the audience to read. An example from my website is, a social business should be able to, and then I list different things that a social business should be able to do, including provide income opportunities for developing countries, have a double bottom line, which is to measure performance according to positive social impact, and have room to expand the further social reach. Although this could make a great paragraph, It's also to mix it up sometimes while you're writing so your readers aren't always reading a paragraph after another paragraph after another paragraph, where bullet points are easier for the audience to absorb the information. And our last and final step is write with expression. Although you are creating a post to educate others, try not to sound like a robot. The goal is to sound more humanly in your work. Here's 2 examples. The wrong way is, I'm going to tell you what a social business is. I will explain to you how Tom's is a social business. You see how that kind of sounds a bit sterile in a kind of way? Whereas you write, a social business is blah. Tom's is a social business because blah. It reads a lot better and it sounds a little less stiff. In conclusion, writing for the web is not as difficult as it may seem. It's important to take your time while writing and proofreading before publishing your work. Don't forget, state your main idea. Ensure that you have a solid foundation and your work is well organized. Use short paragraphs. Make sure you have a clear heading and subheadings to break up your work and keep organization. Always proofread your work. Utilize visuals so your reader can understand certain things you're talking about or keep them more entertained while they're reading. Cite your sources to avoid plagiarism. Use bullet points and write with expression. Once you're able to utilize these tips, you will be able to see great improvement in your website and see how it reads better and how it keeps your audience attention in the long run. I hope you enjoyed my slides. Have a nice day.